E ki ānei, ko te reo te mauri o te mana Māori. Ko te reo anō he waka hei kawe i ngā whakaaro. Tikanga, hiahia, tumanako, nawe, hitori, karakia, wawata, mātauranga, me rātu mea o te tangata. Ko i nei te tirohanga ki ngā tohu Kii Waha, oro toi te whakaaturanga toi o Kārena Wirihana.
Kia ora, Miriana. Ko Tohu Kii Waha, ko te awa o te atua, te awa, ko mātātua te waka, ko Ngāti awa, te iwi, ko te rangi hauhiri, te hapu, ko akuhata kingi, taku mātua tupuna, ko pai whenua pututu, taku tupuna whaia, ko Chaki Mahiti Wirihana, taku papa. No Nina Esterina Bianca di Soma, taku mama, no Italia, ko Karen aho.
Kia ora Karen, ngā mihi ki a koe I te rangatira. Can you tell me what your exhibition, Ngā Tohu Kii Waha, is about?
Yeah, if you've got a couple of hours. It's a long, if I call it a gestation, long birth for this show. I started studying the reo formally 2 years ago. And of all the things that I really love about the reo, it's the whakatauki that I keep turning back to again and again because they're just so full of wisdom, and I've often used them when I've been unsure about what steps to take at any particular time, not only in my creative work, but sometimes in just working out what to do with my life. Then I've looked for a whakatauki or pepeha to give me the inspiration or knowledge to move. So originally, because I'm an artist, I thought, well, they exist in the reo, and we'll always read them in books or on paper, but I thought it would be really nice to take the meaning of a group of them and turn them into sculptural pieces. And my original idea was to have about 7 sculptures that represented ngā pepeha. But then as I began to design the exhibition and the content of the exhibition, I realised that it was actually the reo which is what captures the meaning of the pepeha. So I thought, well, actually I've got to really focus a little more on the reo. And it took me some time to figure out how to do that, but a major inspiration for me in my life has been my auntie Miria. And she was a woman of great scholarship and wonderful guide to me in some ways She was the first person to set my whakapapa out in front of me and say, this is who your connections are. And, you know, she was the one who really brought it home to me, the fact that I'm connected with several generations. Like, I think up until I began talking with her, I'd thought about whakapapa as essentially just being my whanaunga. But then she showed me that I should honour the layers and the richness of their contribution to my life. And you know, her scholarship had taken into some very interesting areas of inquiry, and one of those was the Treaty of Waitangi. And she wanted the signatories to the treaty to be identified correctly, because she knew that the way their names had been spelt on the treaty document was not right. So I started studying the work that she'd done, and I realised that there was the potential for a very, very interesting artistic exploration on my part, and secondly, for me to honour those who'd been involved in the signing of the treaty. She saw that at the end of this line of script, which was written by the clerks who were present when the treaty was signed, there was a little mark, which was the tohu of the tupuna, right? She also identified that in many cases, the names which were written by the Pākehā clerks were spelt wrong. And why she wanted us to recognise the marks was because the marks are the true identity of the tupuna, and she also wanted to correct the spelling. So she produced this book for the National Library Service, which essentially corrected the misspelling of these lines, which represented the names of the tupuna. Now this is really important, because the reason that they couldn't be spelt correctly is because the Pākehā clerks didn't know how to translate the language into an alphabet system, because the alphabet system was not designed for the language, for the reo. So do you see, I mean, they themselves were working under difficulties, under constraints, because even though the English alphabet has 26 letters, the letters are not formed to match the sounds of te reo. So what Auntie Muriu was trying to do was she was trying to correct that and say, well, this mark belongs to this tupuna, but this tupuna's name should more correctly have been spelt like this. But I thought, hey, but what about if we were able to spell his name in our own representation system? Because that's all that the alphabet is. It's just a representation system. Up here, we've got all of the articles in the intro to the treaty all written essentially in that 26-letter alphabet system. But if they had been written in our own representation system, we don't have to deal with 20 characters, these 20 characters. So I took initially Auntie Miria's work, and then I took the tohu on the treaty document, and I thought, let's forget about all the constitutional stuff, the articles of the treaty and all the language about enshrining the relationship between the Crown and Maori, and let's just concentrate on those beautiful little figures that our tupuna made, you know, those rangatira and ariki who signed the document.